When we were kids, my dad lived in this super exclusive gated community called prison. And I really don't want to be like just a total brat, but my dad went to private prison. Yeah, he did. My dad went to private. So, where'd your dad go? Merrill Lynch? Cool. Like, I had met this girl and she's like, I'm from Joliet, Illinois. And immediately I was like, Joliet, Illinois? Joliet State Prison. My dad went there. Like it's the University of Michigan. Like, yeah, my dad, like class of 86.
Side story. The loudest sound in the world is when a drunk chick is at a bar and runs into her friend that she didn't plan on seeing that night. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. It is jarring. You'll be hammered at the bar like, yeah, I know, it's like, I don't want to go to work on Monday. It's like, my fucking job sucks. It's like, so stupid. Oh my God. Is that Stacy? I think that's Stacy. Stacy! Stacy! Ah! Ah! Everyone's like, oh my God. Are we in Jurassic World? You just saw her a week ago.
We were walking towards an Asian family. There were 7 of them. None of them were higher than my chest. Now, does that mean I think all Asian people are short? No, of course not. I know Asian people are taller than me. I'm just telling you these are the facts of this particular story. So the grandparents passed us, and then the parents passed us, and then the children passed us. And my son slowed down, and he looked at me, and he goes, do you think Godzilla was just a normal-sized lizard? And my daughter said, isn't that racist? And I said, we will figure that out when I'm done laughing. Because sometimes you just gotta let her buck.
I don't love everything that the Democrats do. I don't. I have notes. I went to the Cheesecake Factory recently. And I sat down for a meal at the Cheesecake Factory. I don't go often, and when I go, I like to enjoy myself. And I opened the menu, and there were calorie counts on the menu at the Cheesecake Factory. And that's a bigger jump scare than anything I've ever seen in any movie. And I know the Republicans didn't do that. That was us. And I guess the idea there is that they're trying to warn us that perhaps the meals at the Cheesecake Factory are not the healthiest meals available. And I think we all realized that when we agreed to eat at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory. Factory is the healthiest word in the name of that restaurant.
There's also people out there that review cat food. Here's the kicker. In character as their cat. Like, if you look it up, you can look it up when you get home, like Fancy Feast website. There's like reviews, and they're like, every morning I go over to my bowl and I'm so excited to eat my Fancy Feast. It's And I assume they're writing it in character as their cat. Otherwise, Fluffy is a weird woman.
And long before my mom had dementia, she had retired from teaching, and she had taken on some interesting retirement hobbies. She had started to screenshot the selfies I would post on Instagram, and then she would print them out and go to Kohl's and buy those 30 photo collage frames and frame my selfies. But I didn't know she was doing this until I visited home one day, and I just walked into a museum. Of my narcissism. And my mom crept up behind me. She was like, "Do you love it?" What is this, a haunted house? This is horrifying. I'll never take a selfie again. This is like an intervention.
This is all a sign. It's all a sign to me. I got to get in shape. I got to do that. I do. I either got to get in shape or hope ponchos come back in style. I don't like weight loss advice because you get weight loss advice from like everybody. Everybody thinks they got the secret. And people coming up to me all the time. You know what you got to do? You got to chew sugarless gum. That's your problem right there. Yeah, because my ass got fat from bazooka. That's where I veered, right there. You ever get weight loss advice from someone bigger than you? You know what you gotta do? Yeah, not listen to your fatter ass, for starters. You know what it comes down to? My fitness goals are different than most people's. That's it. That's what I've assessed. Seriously, that's it. Because most people want to lose enough weight so that they look good in a bathing suit, or they want to lower their cholesterol. I just want to lose enough so that my stomach doesn't jiggle when I brush my teeth. That's it. Then it's just maintenance from there on out.
I love being married. I know that's weird to hear from a male comedian, you know? We're always just like, I'm married, brr. Like you failed. Like, oh no, you found someone to love you, you gross fat sack of trash. That's a failure, really? Were you gonna be surfing the seas of at some point? You creep. I don't think that was gonna happen. I think she saved you from hell. I think that's what happened. When people talk about like the best things about marriage and the worst things about marriage, that's it. Never the in-between. They talk about the worst, which is what? You'll fall out of love with each other, or you're stuck with the same lover your whole life, you know? Oh no. Or, you know, the best, which is you have someone who loves you for the things you hate about yourself. That's amazing. And you have a best friend that's cool, you know? That's a good thing. That's a good thing. But we don't talk about the awesome little things in between. Like you have someone to mess with the rest of your life. And to get rid of you, they have to involve the law. You're trapped. And I'm not saying do it all the time. Don't, you know, be abusive or every once in a while, do a little razz, right? Here's a free one. Did you guys know that if you're in public and you're holding hands with someone and you say some complete insanity, they're a part of that insanity now? They're on Team Insane. People look at them, they're like, you have sex with this man?
Here's the thing. I love that kid so much. I really do. But at the same time, and I'm 100% sincere when I say this, I also resent her. I really do. Because she's rich. She's a rich kid. And I know it's not right. I know it's a leftover hangover prejudice I had since I was a kid. I grew up really poor, and I was always suspicious of rich people. I didn't get it. I didn't like it. And I just didn't like rich people. I still don't, you know? And I'm rich. I'm rich, you know? I mean, I'm not rich. I pay my taxes, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And when that kid is whining about dumb shit, I'm like, oh, stop it. You're rich. Stop, you know, you have central air. Do you understand? Are you hot? Push that button, you'll cool down. Are you cold? Push that button, you heat up. You have a teepee in your playroom that's not your bedroom. Can you conceive of how rich you're sitting there eating an organic banana that your mother made me go to 3 places in the rain to get you an organic banana. Like that matters. It's the biggest scam in the world. It's bullshit. Anybody can throw an organic sticker on anything. Nobody does their due diligence. It's all. Also, are you eating the peel? All right, then who gives a Why do I have to pay a 500% markup for an organic banana? You're not gonna eat. And okay, so I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. So, our water is contaminated, our air is polluted, our homes are slowly trying to kill us, but yeah, an organic banana, that'll set everything straight. Good. Hey, you know what? I didn't have anything organic until I was 40, and that was by accident, and I'm fine, all right? So, seriously, quit your whining.
My daughter calls me Papa. Yeah. Because we, as a society, ruined Daddy. So now my daughter has to refer to me like we live in a French fishing village of the 20s. Like, will we eat today, Papa? I don't rightly know, daughter. But it's been a little tough at home because I live with an anti-vaxxer. Yeah, my 4-year-old. And I thought it was just because she didn't like needles, you know? But then I saw her like drawing this picture and I was like, what is this, honey? She's like, oh, this is just Bill Gates trying to inject his microchip into me, Daddy. And I was like, all right, that's it. We're taking a bath. And she's like, 666 is the number of the beast. The vaccine was created by a supercomputer in Belgium. I'm like, all right, no more YouTube. And she's like, go get you. It's like, no more Joe Rogan experience for you. It was a mistake to subscribe you. I have two children, and like two is, oh man, it's more than one, and there's so much more than one. And I don't know if I like who I am with two children. Do you know what I mean? Like recently at the dinner table, I screamed at my entire family, I don't care if everyone's crying, I'm eating. I don't want to be that man. I legitimately whispered under my breath to a 1-year-old, oh, you're such a baby. No. And man, when I had one kid, I was so cocky about it. You know, if like someone was like, hey man, we're thinking about having a kid, should we? I'd be like, hey, is it hard? Yeah. But what that's worth doing isn't hard. And then if someone's like, hey man, should we have a second kid? I'm like, don't talk to me. I have 15 minutes to drink this vodka soda before going to bed because every minute that he sleeps, that I don't sleep, he gets stronger than me. I want to be a good dad. You know, I want to be, I mean, most dads want to be good dads except for those pieces of shit, you know?
My dad has spent his whole life running from himself. His whole fucking life. What's going on? Get the car, get the dog. We're going to the beach now. You can relax, Dad. We're on holidays. We could be on holidays faster. Dad treats life like a race. It's like a fucking job to get done. Get born, grow up, meet someone, get married, have kids, retire, dead. Good, done. Done, good. Life's done. Good. What's next? Looks like the afterlife needs a mow. Let's mow the afterlife. Let's get that job done. Dad never looks inward. He's just going, you won't get me, life. I'm going too quick to feel. You won't catch me. I wish I was like that, you know, just running through life, leaving a wake of mentally ill children behind me.
It's been fun to be able to hang out with them at the house, you know, spend some time with the kids, which is always fun too. And with the kids, I like to show them like stuff that I liked growing up. Like one of my favorite things is Looney Tunes. We watched Looney Tunes together, but they hadn't seen a lot of Disney. and seen a lot of classic Disney, so I decided to show them Cinderella, you know? And if you know the story of Cinderella, it's basically a hostage situation. This girl's stuck in the basement, forced to play with rodents, do chores. It's like an animated version of the movie Taken. If Liam Neeson had no skills, this is what happens to the lady. This is it. She's stuck in a basement, you know, she's got to do what she's got to do. But the prince of the land is throwing this big party, right? The prince is having this big party, he's throwing this big ball. So she hates her life, you know, but she wants to go to this party, but she doesn't have what she needs. So she wishes upon a star, and a fairy godmother comes down and gets her bibbidi-bobbidi-boo on. She's like, I got you, girlfriend, what do you need? You need a ride? Give me that pumpkin. Carriage. How are we gonna move this thing? Miceys? Boom. Horsies. Ooh, you look terrible. You look terrible, you can't wear that. Come here. Limited edition Disney and Gabbana gown, complete with glass slippers. Okay, you're gonna go to that party, you're gonna have a good time, all right? You're gonna have lots of fun, but you ain't no hoe. I can't have you being a trick and thotting around the whole kingdom. You're on a curfew, bitch. You gotta be home by midnight, okay? It's all over at midnight. At midnight, everything goes back to the way it was. Be back by midnight. Cinderella says, okay, goes to the ball, has a great time, right? Falls in love with the prince. The clock strikes 12, she ghosts his ass, she's gone. And the only thing she leaves behind is a single glass slipper. And that's all the prince has to identify the woman of his dreams. So he picks it up and decrees, whoever fits this glass slipper will be my queen, and I will love until the day I die. And for me, that's where the major plot hole exists. Because you're telling me in all of the land with all of these beautiful women, there's only one who wears a size 8.5? Sorry, Walt, I ain't buying it, okay? I'm watching with my 7-year-old daughter, 5-year-old son, okay? It's over, my daughter loves it. Singing, dancing, leaves the room. My son watching the end credits, arms crossed. Hey, Dad, I have a question. That's my boy. He's picked up on the same plot hole that has haunted his father for decades. I go, yeah, what's up, buddy? He goes, the glass slipper. Why didn't it just turn back into her regular shoe? My son is Elon Musk. I have a genius boy. He's genius. I never thought of that. He's 5 years old picking that up. He's got questions. So he turns to the guy that's supposed to have all the answers, his father, and I've got nothing. He starts pressing me. He's like, why, Dad? Why? I got to come up with something. So I look him dead in the face. I go, glad you asked, son. That right there, that's just some straight up Disney bullshit. He accepts that as the truth, leaves the room, and goes to play with his Legos. The next week I come home, I'm paying the babysitter. I'm like, how'd they do? She goes, good. We were gonna watch Cinderella though, and your son told me he didn't want to watch straight up Disney bullshit. That's my boy. Raise him right. I was nervous because a couple months after that, the family, we were going to Disneyland in California, okay? And my daughter wanted to meet the princesses, so we were doing the Cinderella experience. And my son is a straight shooter. So I was afraid when we were gonna walk in that palace, he was gonna be like, hi, Cinderella, hi. Can I see your shoe real quick? Thanks. Excuse me, ma'am, hi. You tried this on? Oh, it fits? You're a lying bitch, Cindy. Let's go, Dad. We're gonna go to Universal and play with Minions. They tell the truth there.
I had the most, assumption-shattering experience when we were driving, going through Nebraska, and Rose had a blowout. And it was like a blowout, like someone put 5 M80s in a towel. Like it just sounded muffled, like in the old World War II movie where the guy's like, grenade, lands on it. Like it was like that. It was insane how loud it was, and I look back and she's like, oh, the evil is loose. Like her face looked so relaxed and happy. And it was my turn. Like my wife's like, your turn. And the stench filled the car, like, oh God. We pull over and I take her out and I look, and the closest business is a place called Thunder Road, which is a biker bar / family restaurant. That's actually a thing. Just motorcycles, hogs, as far as the eye can see. Every third guy has a leather cut, a vest on with his club on the back. And he's MC, and we were going into the restaurant, me and Rose, and we passed the restaurant. I'm like, where's the restroom? And of course they're like, it's in the bar. Of course it is. Like, I'm changing a baby. Did I stutter? I said the bar. And so we went through the bar, and there were as many kids in there as there were in the family restaurant. And I get into the men's room, and I make my assumption, my first assumption, which was, no way they got a changing table in here. Nah, it's gonna be my wife's turn. No way. Wrong. Thunder Road woke as like, their changing table, you could have a horse give birth sideways on that thing. Just go, bah, like, oh my God, I could sleep on this in the fetal position. This is incredible. Put my diaper bag here, some snacks, couple beers, a baby in the middle. This is incredible. I'm sure that's why it was designed that way, you know? And I'm changing her, and she's cleaned up, and I'm about to put the fresh diaper on, and a biker passes me who looks straight out of whatever the Norse god Hel is. Like, wherever the evil Vikings go. Like, he had this giant, like, rivulet-covered beard and this grease-heavy... Like, he had that... If Jake Gyllenhaal grew his hair out long, that looks like a helmet, right? Like, he had the tree line, but just grease and evil just melded in there. His eyes were somehow not brown or blue, but red. Like red pupils somehow. Not high, like just eyes of fire. And a leather cut that he looked like he was born in and grew into. Like it was part of his musculature. Buck knife. And he's walking out and he stops and he looks right at Rose's vagina. Pause for laughter. Nothing? That usually kills. Yeah, real awkward. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, mentally, I'm like, go away. Like, I would ordinarily never take you on, but I will pull this hairdryer out of the wall. Like, I've done it before. The little, right? You just put your foot up, yank. They're tiny screws. I've done it when I was in Chicago. And then hit him in the face, sit on him, put it through his head, grab my baby with bloody hands, run her out to my California plated electric vehicle, and get chain whipped to death by the rest of the motorcyclists, I'm sure. That's my brilliant plan, everybody. So I'm sitting there worried, and then he goes, yeah, that's a rash. What? He's like, I don't want to make things weird. Like, we're so there. You made it weird 50 seconds ago when you were staring. He's like, I don't want to make it weird, but I got 4 of those, and that's a rash. I got 4 of those? You mean kids? Those things? Yeah, 2 I won in a card game, 1 I got at a garage sale. 1 me and my old lady made natural, and I've seen my share of a diaper rash, brother. That's a rash. And then he blew my mind completely when he unsnaps his blood-caked leather vest and is like, you got the cream? And I pull out the same tube of diaper cream, and I'm like, got it right here, brother. And he's like, right on, brother. Stay strapped. And he walks out. Oh, my God. Oh. I still wake up in the middle of the night to this day and go, he had the cream. And I go back to sleep. Peacefully. Right next to his buck knife. Amazing. What's your gang? Hell's Dads? Who are you guys? It's magnificent. Oh.
We wound up, we got a cat. We didn't get a cat. House came with a cat. We were just there. There's a cat. Yeah, it was out. We weren't even sure the cat was real at first because it was up. Look at it. Looked. There was some real Pet Cemetery action. Covered, scrub brush, and just missing some ear. Had like David Bowie eyes, you know. What are you looking at? Everything? Nothing? What's going on with you? They always just appear from around structures at first. There's always one of these. It took us about 6 weeks before we admitted to each other that we saw a cat. She said at first, like, you see a cat out there? I'm like, you see it too? All right, thank God. I was getting nervous. I thought we had hobgoblins. I don't know. I'm new to the Pacific Northwest. I don't know what's going out there. Everything's just fog and ferns. I don't know what's crambling around underneath there. So the cat seemed like it was like friendly. It wasn't like friendly, but it was like hanging around us enough. And so we're like, well, maybe it belongs to somebody, so we should find out before we start messing with it or feeding it. So we took some pictures of it, and we went door to door to see if it belonged to anybody. Also, probably a short-sighted idea on our part. It's pandemic, global social distance. Hey, here's the new childless out-of-state people going door to door like, is this your cat? And people are like, get the f away from my family. Yeah, you're right, yeah. The old guy next door answered the door, but the chain's still on the door. He was just like, oh, that cat? That's nobody's cat, no. That cat there, that cat belonged to the earth. Yeah. That cat come up from the soil when the sun go down. And just roams amongst the mist, just eating dreams, out nightmares. That's what that cat... Man, just say it's not your cat, old man, all right? I don't have time for folklore. I got other neighbors to harass. Now, we found out from another neighbor that cat had actually been like a neighborhood stray cat for about 16 years. That's how far back they can remember. This is a stray cat that for 16 years has just been living on the streets of this neighborhood, working off the goodwill of the place. So we're like, this is our cat. We're taking this cat in. So we got the cat to come inside. This is our cat. We named it as much as you can name a cat, let alone one that's been doing its own thing for 16 years. It's mostly just for reference between us, you know. So at first we were calling it Helen. We thought it was blind and deaf. So we were calling it Helen. You know what? I didn't name it that. My girlfriend named it that. So you're not mad at me. You're mad at her. And yeah, I will throw her under the bus. Yeah. All's fair, babe. She's calling it Helen. I was calling it Dirt Nap. That's how I was calling the cat. On account that it sleep all the time and was filthy, but also it looked deceased more often than not. That cat looked like it had perished many times. Like, oh, cats sleep weird, but like draped over a curb under a car tire, just with its eyes open, looking at nothing. I walked up to it with a shovel more than once. It was like, well, this is a sad day, and it would just run off. I'm like, oh, look at you. Look at you little crisis actor. I like... You got an agenda. I don't know what it is, and that's what I like about you. You're mysterious. Little cross-eyed ghoul. Yeah, Dirt Nap, Little Dirty, Little D. We'll be calling her Little D for the rest of the story. Also be referring to her as she and a her. We thought it was a female cat. Turned out it was a neutered male, but we didn't find that out until later. So Jenny Nooch for gender neutral is the name for some of the time. And then for special occasions, we call her Miss America. And by special occasions, just when you could say something truthful that it's more funny when you could be like, man, Miss America on the couch again. And if you can time that out right for when like a new mom is walking by an open window, they're already against us, so maybe as well just feed them. What are they doing to that future beauty queen in there? We got this cat, and we brought it in. We're like, we're gonna give this thing the best sunset years we can give it. You know, we're gonna pamper it. First, we took it to the vet, make sure it's all dialed in. We took it to the vet, and right away, the vet was just like, oh, it's got a thyroid issue. It's thyroid. It's got bad thyroid. It's got to be on a special diet, very special. It's a prescription diet. There's prescription cat food out there. Why? Who's trying to get the cat food that's not? Okay, man, hook me up. Hook me up with that Hill's prescription, man. Like 5 cats in a trench coat rolling in, like, hello, we're here to pick up for Mr. Meowser. Trying to make that cat meth, dog. Come on, man, come on. This is a prescription. You can only get it from me. It's $70 a bag. I'm like, all right, you know what, man? Whew, I know it was middle pandemic, and I was all about the doctors and the scientists, but the veterinarians, I just think some of them, they know they got that giant gray area of your lack of knowledge that they can abuse about the animal camp. Like if you go to a doctor and you're like, my ankle hurts, and they're like, could be an ear infection. You're like, well, you're bad at your job. But you go to a veterinarian with this animal that you love but can't communicate with, and you're like, oh, what's wrong with my best friend, my little guy here? They can just say anything like, it's the alternator. And you're just like, yeah, I get it. You know what? That makes sense because his eyes were dimming in the morning. His eyes were dimming. That's a 2003 Calico with a lot of miles. Those are city miles. I thought the timing belt was gonna go first, but okay, yeah. That makes sense. What are we running on those, huh? 1,500. No, okay. That's with labor? All right, yeah. Hey, listen, real quick on the side. Say we do this in cash. You got like a similar model out back that like you can part out or ethical reasons. Sure, no, say no more. No, nobody's Frankenstein here. Nobody's Frankenstein. So you just gotta believe him, you know? So I come home with a $70 bag of bullshit one day. I open the door, I can see out to the patio. Lil D's outside, she's playing with a bird. Bird's dead. She's just slapping it against the house. Playing's also a real generous term to describe. She is playing the same way like inmates play handball. It's not for fun, you know? That's just maintenance in case goes down. That's all. The only thing missing from Little D at that point was like a cigarette behind her good ear and a teardrop tattoo. Just bitching about not making parole. Like, they got me doing the full 12, man. Ooh, if I get out of here and see that judge, you're gonna see me right back in here. And I could tell it was a fresh kill, because she was about 6 feet out and getting a good return on her. And so I come in with this food, just shaking it like, Lil D, I'm gonna save your life. Look at this. And she looks up, because she can hear. It's selective, but she can hear. And she looks up, she knows it's food. She looks at the food, and then she looks at me and just puts it together. She's like, oh, you're gonna want me to eat that? Watch this. And then she just ate the bird. Just, like at me, like maintained eye contact, but ate the bird. And I know cats eat birds, but I was not ready. Like, I assumed it was gonna be messy, but with strategy. That's what I thought. Like, it's a whole bird. I thought it was gonna be like brutal, but you know, with technique, getting to the soft part. Like the same way, like we've all had that night where we just get a rotisserie chicken just for yourself. Those nights you get home, like, close the blinds, I'm going elbows deep on this bitch. Like those kind of nights. That's what I thought I would have seen. What I saw and was not prepared for was the full-on David Blaine street magic disappearing act that she did on this bird. Just gone. Entire thing disappeared. One Forrest Gump feather just floating down for effect. Still looking at me like, what? Where did it? Is it in my pocket? Oh my God. Is it just gonna be alive over here? That is, what you did is something I gotta call this vet back. And I rang him up right then and there like, yeah, hey doc, I don't know if you got a plan B for this whole thyroid thing, but Lil D been out in these streets just consuming her own enemies for the better part of a decade and a half. So if you got some alternatives, I'm all ears right now. And that's when the vet on the phone, he's like, oh, chicken baby food's totally acceptable for a thyroid issue, too. You can feed her chicken baby food. I'm like, oh, chicken baby food. Oh, the that's 50 cents a jar? You could have led with that, you fucking quack. So that's my life now when I'm not on the road. I'm just buying racks of chicken baby food. I'm just buying full, just cases of chicken baby food. And every morning that I'm at home, I gotta wake up and I gotta heat up a little jar of chicken baby food. Because now that we're an indoor cat, we got particular about temperature. So I gotta heat up this little jar of chicken baby food. And I throw up through my nose a little bit, just And we feed this to our human babies. You women are savages. I do that, and then I go, and then I clean out the litter pan, because these are the things you have to do when you let vermin live in your house. I go, And to get through the litter pan part, I just squat over it and pretend that I'm just an optimistic prospector and this is my lucky day. Because it's the only way to get through sifting through that is to sit there and be like, oh, I got a good feeling. That's a big one. That one's pure gold. Me and Ma don't have to live on the front. That's a poop. Okay, all right. Oh, look at this one coming downstream. Woo, boy, I'd take that to the bank. I'll buy the bank with that. That's just a piss fritter. All right, well, third time's a charm. I'll take silver at this point. Anything to get me out of the dusty old wet. That's a poop, too. I think this creek done run dry. That's just a fun thing to do for me, because you got to be creative with your chores.
Look, all I'm saying is we've gone too far with oat milk. What are we gonna milk next? Wood chips? Drywall? You people are sick. You're sick. This is awful. It tastes like a broom closet. Oh, Los Angeles. I know you guys rail oat milk, you sickos. It's disgusting. It's a horrible milk replacement. A con artist, really. It's sort of like when the dude with the same name as my ex-boyfriend hits on me. And it's like, oh, okay. Nice try coming back in a different body, dude. I know what you're doing, you wicked shapeshifter. Please, think I was born yesterday? Think again, bitch. Nah, I hate the word yummy. I hate the word yummy. Ugh. I just go straight to like fascist PTA mom who's lost all her sexuality. Oh, this oat milk is so yummy. Oh, the oat milk is so yummy. You're fake, Peggy. Let go of the reins, you power-hungry bitch. I know your family covered up your drunk driving murder.
I keep getting mistaken for an Uber driver. Whenever I pull up to a red light, are you my Uber? No, I'm not. I'm getting sick of it. Next person who asks, I'm telling them to hop in. I get it. It's my whole Afghani, Albani, Algeri, Armeni, Azerbaijani. I'm going alphabetically. It ends with Yemeni and Zagrebi, so sit back, it takes a while. People see me, they say, he looks like a desert smuggler. I think maybe I saw him in The Mummy Returns. So he should just shuttle me to the Whole Foods. Drive. But I can't. I can't drive a cab, because I'm Jewish. And if you go home and you tell your Jewish parents you drive a cab, they don't even have time to kill themselves. It's just poof, they vaporize into a mist of shame and settle on the floor into twin puddles of regret. Yeah, like I'm gonna do business with a company called Uber. Come on, Uber. It's one of the Nazis' favorite words. Yeah, Uber, it means over or superior. And they called themselves Ubermensch, Superman. And they called my people Untermensch, Underman. Yeah, Overman and Underman. Underman sounds like the world's least effective superhero. Hey, Underman, that bridge is about to collapse with that bus full of school kids. And da-na-na. Yikes. Anybody need a mint? Best ethnicity for a cabbie. Russian. Some guy who's resigned to how horrible everything always is. Where to? You want me to take Gowanus Expressway? I take Gowanus Expressway. You want me to take Jackie Robinson Parkway? I take Jackie Robinson Parkway. You want me to hike barefoot in blizzard with you, your luggage, and your family on my back? Hop on. You want me to smile? Worst ethnicity for a cabbie, my people, the Jews. You can tell, because there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's no Jewish taxi app. Schlep. What would that be anyway? The driver would just complain the entire time. Oy, this traffic, oy, this weather, oy, this job. I should have gone to law school. Would you mind closing the window? There's a little bit of a draft. I had a thing in my throat. It went into my neck. If you don't close the window, it's going into my spine. Just close the window. Thank you for riding with Schlep. If your driver stops kvetching, the ride is on us. I imagine Schlep would have its own GPS system. It wouldn't use Waze. It would use Oives, which wouldn't give directions. It would just point out all of your mistakes. You should have turned back there. Back there, you probably should have turned. I'm just trying to help. You're the driver. I'll let you drive, but you should have turned. You should have turned. I'll be quiet. You drive. I'll be quiet. You should have turned. I'll be quiet.
People would get away with crazy stuff in Chicago. Like, there was a bar called Coconut Joe's, a beach bar, nowhere near a beach. And there were like a thatched roof and tiki drinks and all that stuff. And they had this amazing, fun, and super safe thing they'd do where they'd just take a bottle of 151 and pour it all over the bar, splashing, not in just a nice line, just everywhere. Light a match, just light the whole bar on fire. And you're like, oh, yay, arson. What a good time. And they'd never warn you. Like, that's how piratey it was. And one night, there's a dude laying back against the bar like this in a tank top, and he had the most back, shoulder, and arm hair I've ever seen in my life. Like thick, like a Wookiee or a mammoth. So much hair. Like that thickness where if you took a baseball and set it on it, it wouldn't sink. It would just lay on the green right there. And he's just laying there, and sure enough, this dude's pouring the rum, and I'm like, oh, like I see it about to happen, but my throat seized up because I was so afraid. Whole thing went on fire, and so did this dude. Like, whole back and shoulders, just, and we threw a jacket on him. Thank God Chicago's always cold. There's always a pile of jackets. We grabbed 2 jackets and just covered them, right? Put them out. And I learned something horrible about myself, which is if I see someone catch fire, the first thing I do or say is not, oh no, let's help him. We should put him out. That guy's on fire, right? The first reaction that comes out of me instinctively is, wow. Oh no. Oh, is he all right? I didn't know back hair caught that fast.
Thing my country family is most proud about me for it is not selling out theaters. I see you. It's a rat. My demo. Don't get the ceiling in this shot. No, I'm very rich. I'm very successful. This is actually just a fundraiser so that this 2,000-seat theater can finish their roof. It's because I get to go across the country and open up for David Spade as his body double. We booked a private gig. So he got for himself and all his openers, he got us a private jet. And I was so excited because I've flown fourth class my whole life. I'm like, oh, I've never ridden on one. So I get on this private jet. I have to take a private tinkle on the... And I don't know if you guys have been on... No, you haven't. You're here. Anyways, okay. But I can't find the bathroom because there's no sign. So all of a sudden, the pilot comes out and he kind of scoffs at me. You know, like the valet scoffs at you when you show him how you get in through your trunk. And then he points to this velvet bench that I was sitting on. And he lifts it up and he goes, "We hide the toilet seat underneath." And it blew my mind. I was like, what? That's some rich people Hunger Games shit right there. I was like, my people, we don't have the toilet. We come from a land called Coach. And we have signs because we eat solids. And I started spiraling. I'm like, we even play games with our potties, okay? So I'm from a land called Louisville, Kentucky, where they have the Kentucky Derby. Has anyone ever heard of it before? Okay, row red. Okay, front row. Okay, so what it is, if you don't know, it's this fancy event where wealthy people, they watch these animals run around in circles, you know, and after every race, you can see some of them freaking out, because they just lost their son's college fund on an animal named Buckle Up Buttercup. But at the Derby, they don't let us hillbillies in the stand. They corral us in the infield, right? So we're there watching the horses race, and we get FOMO. We're like, oh, I want to do that. Hold my moonshine. And so we have ourselves something called porta potty racing, okay? Do y'all know what porta potties are? I want to make sure. Okay. You never know. My tickets are expensive, so, you know. Okay, so what porta potty racing is, if you don't know, porta potties, they're, I just remember the first time I saw a porta potty, I didn't know what it was. I just saw people like lined up and they were so excited to get inside, you know? They were like, oh my, hurry up! And I was like, oh my, what is in there? 'Cause I grew up very Catholic, so I thought they were little confessionals. Because people they looked so worried before they got in, you know, and then they got out, they were so relieved. So okay, so porta potty racing, what you do is you find a line of these guys, okay? That's a God-made landmark. You can read about it in Genesis. And and you go up to the first one in the line, and you ask a man to help you up to the very tip top of it. And he always does, because you have a sundress on. And then, oh, he looks just like you. I knew, okay. Now I clocked you. Okay, and then the name of the game is to try and run across the top of the porta potties without falling in. It's like the floor is lava, but worse. Because it's human lava. Do you get it? Listen, if you fall in, you're gonna wish it was real lava, all right? You would just die, but you don't. And then you just have to remember it at Catholic Mass the next morning. Now, if you get pretty far and you haven't fallen in yet, then there's dudes on the ground that are gonna get excited, you know, because now you're their redneck ninja warrior. They're like, oh my God, she's really doing it. And they can't help themselves. They get so excited, they'll throw full beer bottles at your head, because that's how their dad showed them they were proud. And then if you dodge all the bottles full of love and you make it to the very end, then you get to get arrested. And then you get to go to jail. And you get to talk to your dad again. Anyways, I said all that to the pilot. And he was like, you belong on Frontier.